Have Indians been deliberately denied financial literacy? Growing number of demat accounts and increasing portfolio of mutual funds in India are indicative of growing financial literacy in the country. Right? Wrong. Absolutely wrong. Had the argument of a stock market and mutual funds been indicative of increasingly financial literacy in the country been true, then why 93% Indian traders lost excess of 1.8 lakh crore in trading between financial year 22 to 24 as per the data of SEBI. What is even more alarming is the fact that some of the Indians have gambled in a stock market with borrowed money and lost it. Why are Indians obsessed with home buying to neglect their other financial and personal needs when home purchase in most of the case is liability and not asset? Do Indians even understand difference between asset and liability, between good debt and bad debt, between leverage and liability? You are watching Track to Reality and I am Ravi Sinha, and for me, the fact that there is no financial literacy among the Indians is not news. The revelation is the reality that there appears to be a clear design to deny them much needed financial literacy. After all, lack of financial literacy in India is linked to many socio-political problems being brushed down the carpet. The more the education on this front, the more the aspiration and the failure of the system to fulfill those aspirations. As a result, even after 75 years of independence, we are still at the basic level of unbanked and underbanked population. Let me admit, financial literacy is not part of academic curriculum in most of the countries, even the developed ones. The financial modeling of the world has been done by the rich and for the rich. That's why there is income disparity and wealth inequality all around, with rich getting richer and poor getting poorer. Why financial education is important, right? Financial education is important because in the absence of this, there are misconceptions and conspiracy theories. I meet a whole lot of people who simply dismiss success with rich are bad. You need an evil persona to succeed and create wealth. They say it because they have only seen one side of the coin, have witnessed abusers of wealth. But in this process, when they abuse successful people, they actually abuse success itself. I often tell my socialist friends that money does not define the character of a person. How you earn money and how you spend it defines it. Please understand, rich people are successful because they are more exposed to financial wisdom and they take advantage of tax structure, even declare their profits as agriculture income. Imagine a film star filing tax returns with profit from agriculture income as he has bought a farmland for the same. They know the financial game where a salaried person pays tax on income, but as a business owner, they have to pay tax on profit. It's a rigged game, my friend. All right, but you should have the financial knowledge to take benefit of that. Is wealth equality possible with financial education? Well, wealth inequality is a concern for India today, but equally true is the fact that wealth equality is not possible. It's an idealistic concept. Let's face the facts. But the financial education can create a sort of level playing field for one and all. Unlike the present rigged economic system, people often confuse level playing field with wealth equality. Giving two children equal opportunity to succeed does not mean both of them would be equally successful. But denying one and promoting the other is what I call rigged system. Financial education dispels misconceptions. For example, the capitalist narrative is that even if you redistribute the world's wealth equally, the robbed rich will again become rich because they will do business and invest with whatever is left. But the poor with newfound and not earned money will end up losing all with consumption. Right? Yes, the narrative is right, but the context is missing, and hence it is wrong and flawed. The poor will yet again become poor, but not due to consumption, but due to the lack of financial education that develops mindset of business and investment. This is the worst kept secret of the rich world over, and hence only 1% of the world is rich. Similarly, I don't borrow the communist mindset that despises rich. It says rich is evil and wealth is synonymous with unethical means. Well, while this may be true in most of the cases, the statement is yet flawed. I rather have a counter question. Are such people ready to work free? Will they accept the same salary or increment if they have produced more results in any given organization? When I ask such questions to my socialist and communist friends, I get the reply, why should I? And yet, they abuse money and success. The problem is yet again the lack of financial literacy. Money is not evil, it's rather a means and source of uplifting your life. Of course, the way you earn it and the way you spend it defines you as a person. But a blanket statement that money is evil is a defeatist mindset where you know that wealth is beyond your reach. Uh, a case of sour grapes, and all due to financial illiteracy. Now, someone will say that if financial illiteracy is a global problem, why am I specifically pointing fingers towards financial illiteracy of Indians? It is because being an Indian, it concerns me that India ranks second in the world in terms of wealth inequality. That is because, as Indus Valley report exposed it, out of the 140 crore Indians, 100 crore population has absolutely no spending power, and only 13 crore Indians have some purchase power beyond the very basic needs. Now, before the critics start calling me communist or left liberal, which I am not, as a free thinking individual, I must say that my statement about Indians being deliberately denied financial education is not just figment of my imagination. I have reasons to believe that the poor and uneducated demography that is a liability to any nation turns out to be a demographic dividend for the ruling elites. Who are beneficiaries of this financial ignorance? And why am I constantly blaming the policy makers? It's because the more educated and financially aware the population is, the more is the demand for share in the country's resources that is concentrated among very few, mostly the ruling elites. It is universally believed that more the education and global exposure, there is greater consciousness of greater good for greater number of people. It's not that only the policy makers are to be blamed for keeping the financial literacy out of the mainstream education over all these years. Our cultural attitude is equally responsible for this. We don't discuss and share details of our income and wealth with children. It is a cultural conditioning that children should not be involved into financial decision making. But why? I fail to understand. As a result of this mindset, we only produce the next generation that learns with their own trial and error, or in most cases, fails to learn. Wealth creation and investment should be part of one's upbringing and education. Our education system fails. Our schools and colleges never teach the most important lesson of life, the one which is useful for the rest of our lives: how to earn and manage money. The schooling itself is rigged, as it is grade based and marks based, but not learning based. It is unlike China, where even the primary education is learning based, something that has made China an economic powerhouse in the last 3 decades. Now, someone will start blaming it to the education system introduced by Lord Macaulay that replaced Indian and Oriental learning. But then, the old school of learning itself had its flaws and demerits. It was hierarchy based and not universal in spirit. Even the mythology says that Eklavya had to sacrifice his thumb as education fee for learning from his teacher an art that the social hierarchy did not allow him to learn. So, Indian education was never a model of universal learning. Even today, education only teaches an average Indian to go to school and college, get a degree, and be an employee. It does not teach you that if you will not dream big, someone with bigger dream will hire you to fulfill his dream. The best of college degree will prepare you to be a manager of a 7-star property, but not to be the owner of that property. And then we blame that employer, crib against that system, and can't come out of the rat race, because by the time we realize, or don't even realize in most of the cases, we are chained with liabilities. And mind you, most of these liabilities are unnecessary because we don't understand the difference between asset and liability. I find youngsters with 25,000 salary buying an expensive iPhone worth 1.5 lakh on EMI. You buy more depreciating asset to flaunt wealth that you don't have. Financial education makes you understand that your appearance should not be different than your bank statement. Even when you buy an appreciating asset like property, you fail to calculate the acquisition cost plus debt cost that is way higher than your appreciation. A home on loan is a classic case in point. Then we buy depreciating products like car on loan. We buy insurance as an investment product. How many Indians do understand the difference between insurance and investment, and how the two clubbed products give you lesser returns than a simple bank deposit? Ignorance leads to financial frauds also. Everywhere I find financial frauds today. You buy a property and face fraud, and it starts with as basic starting point as the builder buyer agreement, despite of the Supreme Court's direction to have a uniform builder buyer agreement. Unfair contract is a prevailing market reality. Banks are openly mis-selling financial products. In fact, banks are more into financial sales than banking today. Everywhere there is fake earn quick money cartel. I always say, don't listen to those influencers, as 99% of them are fake, and you should not listen to those who have themselves not made it where they promise you to make. Will you go to market and boast your richness? भाई लोग देखो देखो मैं अमीर हूं. They have never made the kind of money that they claim on social media. Similarly, start investing early is a bullshit concept. They preach so because they want you to invest and let them earn their commission. If you start investing too early in life with limited earning, how will you invest in yourself, in your education to upskill yourself? Problem is that an average youngster today fails to understand difference between what is spent on meaningful experience and what is spent to keep up with the social expectations. Question is, who are beneficiaries of your financial ignorance? If there is a clear design to keep you out of financial education system, there must be a method in the madness, right? Who are beneficiaries of your financial ignorance? What is the big game? The policy makers don't want you to question. In a rigged system, the moneyed employers pay less tax than employees, as they pay taxes on profits while employees pay taxes on income. There is audit of even NGOs on foreign funding, but no audit of political funding. Why? Political parties could also be funded and used to destabilize India. Then there is this reality of overpriced formal education by capitalists, an education that has neither any relevance nor ROI in today's context. Everywhere you find overpriced degrees, foreign degrees, but education is valuable only when it has either higher ROI or prepares you to think big and evolve. But I find people getting a degree on loan and then there is no hope of a job. Degrees are losing value. There is no ROI for most of the degrees. Other usable degrees are ultra expensive to make you corrupt. We'll make a separate video on this. Reality of vested interest in financial education. Now you may say that financial education is available easily in today's digital world. One may even wonder, why am I saying this when there are so many channels of financial education, especially on YouTube, right? Of course, when formal education fails to cater vested interests get through informal channels. Mushrooming of financial influencers is a case in point. Most of them have a clear conflict of interest. I call it a toxic financial trap for youngsters who get lured by the get rich quick schemes. How financial education helps you to break through rigged system? Does financial education really help to break through the rigged system, or is it just a fantasy? I can only narrate it with my own personal experience. Take for instance the world of real estate media. How do I practice consumer-centric journalism in an ecosystem where almost every real estate journalist is on the right side of the builder lobby? Don't I need money for my survival? After all, I am also surviving professionally in an ecosystem where most of the media reports are business-centric. Who sold how much inventory? Which company got how much investment? And worse even, which builder has got what kind of celebrity lifestyle? How do I manage that? I could manage that over a decade now because of my financial education. As a newcomer who had accidentally fallen into the big bad world of real estate media, I soon had realized what kind of world it is. Either fall in line or fall outside. I preferred to be an outsider in the world of real estate media, where even the vested interest journalists turned out to be my critic. I was acting like a game spoiler for them. But then let me put on record that I am the only real estate journalist in the country who does not earn money from builders, who does not attend their events and parties. As a matter of fact, my balance sheet does not reflect more than 10-15% revenue from real estate companies, even though we do brand rating of real estate companies. My subscribers are mostly from the financial world who need authentic, unbiased, and unpaid reports from the world of Indian real estate. Then I play my game with information. Say, for instance, if I get the first hand information about a developer that is getting a sizable overseas investment, or he's getting into a big land deal, I know how will it reflect on the listed developer's stock price, and I know what I have to do. That's the power of financial education. Benefits of financial education are immense. You will learn how to manage money. You will learn what is stock, how share market works, gold, SIP or mutual funds could be used for investment. You will realize that earning and saving are important, but investment and growing money is also important. You will learn why debt is bad and how to protect yourself from the EMI trap. You will learn how to take baby steps for growing your money. You will learn which are the best ways to earn extra money along with job, like earning money with money. In conclusion, the choice is yours. I am not advocating for a capitalist mindset, but this much I would say, that being minimalist is a defeatist mindset. Be maximist and maximize your potential to learn and earn. Your objective in life should be financial freedom, and for that, you need financial education. More than how much you earn, it is important to understand what you do with that money. Either become an Atmanirbhar, self-reliant in the true sense of the term, or you become lone nirvar, lone reliant. Being an Atmanirbhar is just a political slogan in India and not a much needed mindset shift. Question is whether you are ready for that mindset shift. I leave it to you. Thanks for watching.